Welcome to the 700 Club. We have a news flash for you. President Trump is not under federal investigation. And that report comes from a member of his outside legal team, Sekulow.
The news media has been working overtime to cast a shadow over the Trump presidency. And one of the president's recent tweets seems to give them fresh ammunition. Caitlin Burke has more.
A simple tweet keeping the Russia investigations in the headlines. Last week, President Trump tweeted, quote, "I'm being investigated for firing the FBI director by the man who told me to fire the FBI director. Witch hunt."
Trump's legal team says the tweet was simply about a report that the president was under investigation for obstruction of justice, not a confirmation.
The president has not been notified by anyone that he's under investigation.
Sekulow also points to testimony from former FBI Director James Comey, who told the Senate Intelligence Committee investigating Russian interference into the 2016 presidential elections that he himself had told Trump he was not under investigation. Other supporters of the president taking to the Sunday shows to defend the intentions behind his tweet.
Trump has a compulsion to counterattack and is very pugnacious. I don't think it serves him well. I don't think that tweet helped him.
Meanwhile, despite growing concerns that the president may fire Robert Mueller, the special counsel running the Russia investigation, Republican Senator Marco Rubio says the best thing for everyone will be for the investigation to run its course.
This is going to move forward. We're going to get the full truth out there. And I repeat, I believe that is the best thing that can happen for the president and for this administration.
As the investigation does move forward, a tip from the Deputy Attorney General. In a statement last week, he warned Americans against believing stories attributed to anonymous officials. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Well, joining us now is Sekulow, Chief Counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice and also one of President Trump's attorneys. Jay, congratulations. You seemed to own the news cycle yesterday. What's it like to be dominant in the headlines?
Well, it was a busy weekend, and it was a busy weekend because the Washington Post initiated a story that was just fabricated. I mean, 5 unnamed sources from agencies they don't disclose saying that the president was under investigation, and we've had no indication whatsoever that the president's under investigation. So we responded to those aggressively over the weekend and are going to continue to do that. The leaking that's going on here. By the way, the ABC News received a leak saying that, in fact, they confirmed that the president also was not under investigation, which is what I was alleging, because we've received no notification of investigation. So I think that the response to this was set up by a story in the Washington Post that was not factually accurate by unnamed sources from unnamed agencies. And it's like, you know, it's like trying to swat at Jell-O. I mean, the reality of what you have here is the media creates these stories, and the president responded to that story, and then we responded to the situation. That's what we did this weekend.
Well, let's back it up and just look at it from a legal standpoint. Under the Constitution, can a sitting president be indicted by the Justice Department, by the FBI? Is it possible for a sitting president to be indicted?
Well, there's been Office of Legal Counsel opinions going back almost 50 years that say no, and the reason is on an obstruction charge. Here's the problem. The president, in this particular case, receives a letter and a memorandum from his Attorney General and his Deputy Attorney General, respectively. He gets a letter. That letter lays out the reasons why James Comey should be removed from office. He'd already been contemplating what he was going to do on the situation because there's a lot of turmoil that's been surrounding the administration of James Comey's time at the FBI, especially the last few years. He makes a determination to terminate the president. So if the legal theory that they were applying was correct, this is what it would be. So the president of the United States takes legal action based on a recommendation from the Department of Justice to remove the FBI director. He follows their recommendation, and now the Department of Justice, through the special counsel's office, is investigating him for doing exactly what they told him to do. That can't be constitutional. There's no way.
And it can't add up to an investigation. Well, anyway, the Deputy Attorney General, he recently said that people shouldn't believe news stories from anonymous sources. Is this all part of the fake news from the media?
Well, I mean, even James Comey testified that the reports in the media are usually wrong. And what was happening from the Deputy Attorney General, what he put forward in this particular case, And this is what we're having to deal with. He put forward a statement saying, we don't even know where these sources are coming from, which they need to find out if they're internal, by the way. But also they could be from other governments or other foreign entities. You know, here's what I know. Right now, as of it sits today, the president has not been notified of any investigation into his activity for the termination of James Comey. Period.
Well, the Washington Post just went, yesterday they doubled down on their story. They stood behind it. Any comment on that?
Yeah, well, ABC News said they got a report from their source within the special counsel's office that, quote, D.C. Caller said Sekulow's analysis corroborated. ABC News reports that there's been no decision from the special counsel to engage in a full investigation of the president. That decision had not been made. So, again, you had Washington Post saying their sources said the investigation has started, and you've got ABC News sources saying there's no investigation of the president going on right now. So there you have it. I mean, look, this is what you deal with in Washington. This is what you deal with when you've got these kind of issues. But the stakes for the country are high because the president has to go about the business of governing. And these distractions, and that's what they are, it affects our standing. The president's concerned about that, and he wants to do the people's business.
Well, it already blew out the infrastructure week. It's already taken over the agenda, and it's causing concern. Is there going to be any change in the healthcare bill in time for the recess? And so, yes, it is a distraction. Do you have any prediction on when this special counsel will wind up? Is it even possible to have a time frame now?
Well, I don't know that because it's all the matters related there too. So as it relates to what they're supposed to be investigating, that should be wrapped up pretty quickly. If there is an investigation of the Russia probe and collusion as they're talking about, I'm sure that's going on. I don't know how long. It's already been investigated for 9 months and 10 months by committees. But you take it the next step and the step further, and I think you've got a situation where you don't know where they're aiming at right now, so it's a little hard to predict. But I think look, at the end of the day, there's been no evidence of Russian collusion. James Comey said that he was not under pressure from the president to end the investigation on Russian collusion. And James Comey also said that he was fully aware that he served at the pleasure of the president. So to me, this should be very quick.
It should be, but as I understand,
Washington.
It's Washington. And so, Mr. Trump, welcome to Washington and welcome to public service. This is he's definitely getting a baptism in fire. His first 100 days have been far from a honeymoon.
Yep.
All right. Well, Jay, thank you and stay strong. Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Gordon.
Okay. Well, in other news, an attacker has driven a van. This looks like it's a revenge attack by a white male, elderly, late middle age, white male in London into a crowd of worshipers at a mosque. And John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon. London police are investigating the motive behind the latest deadly attack in Britain. At the moment, the crash appears to have killed one person and injured several others. Eyewitness accounts say the driver turned down a one-way street and accelerated into the crowd as Muslims were leaving an evening Ramadan service. Police arrested the driver. The incident comes after a series of Islamic terrorist attacks in the UK. In one of the most recent cases, attackers used a van to hit pedestrians on London Bridge before carrying out a knife attack in a nearby market. They killed 7 people and injured 48. Tomorrow is International Refugee Day, and Syrian refugees stuck in Greece are in desperate need of water and other life-sustaining aid. Despite their own hardships, one church in northern Greece has partnered with CBN to offer help and hope. Gary Lane has a story from Greece.
3 summers ago, after masses of refugees and migrants flooded into Europe, the walls finally went up to lessen the flow. Thousands ended up here, stuck in Greece, the first stop in the European Union. Many of them, like 20-year-old Syrian refugee Yassine al-Sharif, are still awaiting approval to settle in Western Europe.
If I will stay in Syria, I will lose my future. I have future. I want to be in my future something good.
And where do you want to go?
To Belgium. But I think it's difficult. I think I'm not will go to there.
They may think you're Daesh. You're a terrorist.
Daesh. I hate Daesh. I hate Daesh. I don't like it.
Yassine says he wants nothing to do with Daesh. the Arab name for ISIS. He says the group has brought only death and destruction to his country. He's now living in a small trailer in Alexandria refugee camp, and he says he enjoys regular visits and conversations with caring Christians. 85% of the members of Thessaloniki Apostolic Church are unemployed. While they've endured hardships of their own because of the Greek economic crisis, they're still reaching out to help refugees like Yasin.
We saw that need coming to our door, coming to our city, and we had to react. So we thought that we have to share the love of Jesus and to try to do what's our best for them.
CBN heard about the church's work with the refugees, and we asked how we could help.
The water pipes, it was very dirty, not drinking water. CBN, you came here and you said, how we can serve you, what we can do. And then we shared the need for the water.
Enough water for each person at the Alexandria refugee camp to receive 2 liters per day for 1 week.
When I hear of the people, someone will give us water, I be very happy because, you know, thank you very much. Really, really, really thank you.
Not only are CBN and its partners providing much needed drinking water for the Syrian refugees here in Greece, but also living water for the children. Superbook in the Arabic language was recently introduced to Syrian refugee children in Thessaloniki. It was presented at the Care Center, a day center for refugees supported by the Thessaloniki Evangelical Alliance of Churches.
Superbook will be a great tool to be used for here at the Care Center in Thessaloniki, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy it.
Timely help for refugees in need in Greece. Fun, life-changing lessons for the kids and life-sustaining refreshment for their families.
God sent the right people, and when we met CBN and we find out, without to ask you anything, you gave to us your love. And that it was just a confirmation how the hand of God is take care about the daily needs.
Gary Lane, CBN News, Alexandria, Greece.
The body of Christ at work. Gordon, this reminds me of a verse I read this morning in Psalms that said, even though the Lord sits high, he still sees the lowly.
We want to help those in need, and regardless of their religion, whether they're Muslim or Christian or Jewish or Hindu or Buddhist or none of the above, if they're in need, we want to reach out with hands of love and compassion and help them. And here are these refugees coming out of a horrible situation in Syria. And I wouldn't want to live in Syria today. I'd want to leave. I'd want to get my family out of a war zone. And then what do they do and where do they go? And we're there for them. We want to help them, whether that's in Greece, whether that's in Germany, whether that's in Jordan, whether that's in Lebanon. We want to help them. And if you want to be a part of it, all you have to do is give to CBN Disaster Relief, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463, or you can just call us right now, 1-800-700-7000, and say, I want to give to the CBN Disaster Relief Fund. And when you give, know that in these refugee camps, we're playing Superbook in Arabic, and it's having tremendous results. We're looking at this as a wonderful opportunity to tell people about a God who loves them. And if you want to be a part of that, call us right now, 1-800-700-7000.